Also a great appreciation for the great songs before 1920, in a period of time when the phonograph was just a talking piece around the house, and such great singers like Billy Murray, Henry Burr, Byron G. Harlan, Irving Kaufman, Octa Fields, great popular stars before the 20s.
Tiny Tim was one of the most unusual and unforgettable performers in music history. With his eerie falsetto, quirky persona, and signature ukulele, he became an overnight sensation. Yet behind the laughter and novelty was a man driven by passion, obsession, and heartbreak. Once a nationwide phenomenon, his fame disappeared as quickly as it arrived. This is the bizarre and fascinating life of Tiny Tim. Born Herbert Boutros Ghali on April 12, 1932, in Manhattan, New York, Tiny Tim was the son of Lebanese and Polish Jewish immigrants. His father, a textile worker from Beirut, and his mother, a garment worker, raised him in Washington Heights. From an early age, he was captivated by music. At 5, he became obsessed with the gramophone recording of Beautiful Ohio by Henry Burr, playing it repeatedly. By 6, he had picked up the guitar, later discovering a passion for the ukulele after hearing Arthur Godfrey on the radio. His fascination with early American music led him to spend hours at the New York Public Library studying phonograph records and sheet music. Academically struggling, Tiny Tim dropped out of George Washington High School and took on odd jobs while chasing his musical dreams. Performing under stage names like Larry Love, Derry Dover, and Sir Timothy Timms, he eventually discovered his signature falsetto voice, inspired by 1920s singer Rudy Vallee. In 1960, his manager suggested the name Tiny Tim as an ironic nod to his 6 feet 1 inch stature, inspired by Charles Dickens's A Christmas Carol. Fully embracing the persona, he adopted a flamboyant style, wearing eccentric outfits, growing out his hair, and powdering his face to symbolize purity. His early performances were in unconventional venues, including Hubert's Museum and Live Flea Circus in Times Square, where he sang Tin Pan Alley songs as Larry Love, the Human Canary. Though initially viewed as a novelty act, he honed his ability to captivate audiences. By the early 1960s, he moved to Greenwich Village, performing in folk clubs like Café Wa and Page 3, a lesbian-run venue where he built a dedicated following. Despite skepticism from the music industry, his talent was undeniable. In February 1968, his breakthrough came with an appearance on Rowan and Martin's Laugh-In, where his performance of Tiptoe Through the Tulips made him an instant star. Following his television debut, Tiny Tim signed with Reprise Records and released God Bless Tiny Tim in April 1968. The album, a mix of Tin Pan Alley classics and original compositions, produced the Billboard hit Tiptoe Through the Tulips, reaching number 17. His ability to shift between falsetto and baritone added to his unique appeal. He soon appeared on major television programs like The Ed Sullivan Show, The Jackie Gleason Show, and The Tonight Show starring Johnny Carson. Though some dismissed him as a gimmick, notable figures like Bob Dylan and Andy Warhol admired his deep knowledge of early American music. One of the most memorable moments of Tiny Tim's career occurred on December 17, 1969, when he married 17-year-old Victoria Boettinger, known as Miss Vicky, live on The Tonight Show. The event attracted 45 million viewers, making it the second most watched television event of the decade after the moon landing. The ceremony featured thousands of Dutch tulips, and in his characteristic eccentricity, Tiny Tim requested a toast with milk and honey instead of champagne. Reports even suggested a drop in crime rates as the nation tuned in to watch. However, his marriage to Miss Vicky was short-lived. The couple had one child, Tulip Victoria, but separated within a few years and eventually divorced. As the 1970s progressed, Tiny Tim's popularity declined. Musical tastes shifted, and his television appearances dwindled. Losing his contract with Reprise Records, he attempted to revive his career by launching Victim Records in 1971, but the label failed by 1972. Another attempt with Toilet Records reflected his growing frustration, yet his career continued to wane. Despite fading mainstream success, Tiny Tim remained dedicated to performing. He found work in unexpected venues, including punk clubs, gay nightclubs, and traveling circuses. He joined Roy Radin's Vaudeville Review and gained an unlikely following in the punk scene, where his eccentricity resonated. Collaborations with the experimental band Brave Combo further cemented his cult status. However, some of his choices led to controversy, such as his 1985 song, Santa Claus Has Got the AIDS This Year, which sparked backlash during the AIDS crisis. Tiny Tim's personal life was filled with peculiar habits. Obsessed with cleanliness, he showered up to 6 times a day and used only disposable paper towels. He brushed his teeth 4 times daily, combining 3 different toothpaste brands for extra shine. He often bought makeup just to admire its beauty, and his managers frequently criticized his financial decisions. Despite their concerns, he lived by his own rules, detached from conventional reality. He married twice more after Miss Vicky. In 1984, he wed Jan Alweis, but the marriage lasted only 6 months. His third marriage to Susan Marie Gardner in 1995 endured until his death. Despite health issues, he refused to stop performing. In September 1996, he collapsed on stage during a ukulele festival, but ignored medical advice. On November 30th, 1996, he suffered a fatal heart attack while performing at a benefit concert in Minneapolis. Struggling through Tiptoe Through the Tulips, he collapsed on stage and was pronounced dead at 11:20 p.m. His wife later stated that he passed away to the sound of applause. Tiny Tim's legacy is as unique as his career. His rendition of Tiptoe Through the Tulips turned a 1929 love song into something whimsical, bizarre, and later unsettling. It found new life in horror films, most notably in Insidious, 2010, where it added an eerie contrast to supernatural terror. Through his eccentric persona, nostalgic song choices, and deep passion for early American music, Tiny Tim left an indelible mark on entertainment. Though his mainstream fame faded, his influence persists, ensuring that his name and his signature falsetto will never be forgotten.